Schools across the nation canceling class because of quote-unquote teacher burnout. The suddenly widespread phenomena has parents scrambling to find childcare with little notice. Joining me now, Erika Sanzi, Director of Outreach for Parents Defending Education. Erika, thanks for being here. I said it was nationwide. Look at these numbers. 3,300 plus schools disrupted this year due to mental health concerns. Erika, why are the education of our students and the lives of those parents being upended like this? I would say rather cavalierly and with very, very little notice.
Yeah, this is a major problem. Certainly the unions are at play in some of these decisions. We know that these days off were negotiated by unions and districts. So number one, we can't ever ignore the influence that they play. But I think that there's a major problem here in that in a lot of these cities, these schools were already closed either most or all of last year. So parents are in no mood right now to hear about last-minute closures and also then to have to sort of listen to the reason being teacher burnout and teacher mental health days, not because they don't acknowledge that this has been a very difficult time for teachers, but that it completely ignores what this has done to families and parents and caregivers who often don't get paid if they don't get to work. Right. Can't go to work because their kids are home, don't have benefits if they're not able to go to work, and are scrambling at the last minute, especially when they have young children at home.
I come from a family of teachers, not trying to beat up on teachers. We love teachers, but broadening this out for a minute, whether it's CRT, whether it's these fights with school boards or this situation, doesn't this really call into question the use of taxpayer dollars for an unbiased public education, a public service, if you will, when that public service, quite frankly, is not available when the public needs it?
So, you know what, it's funny that you say that. I actually would think about this more in the sense of, do we or do we not believe that public schools are an essential service? Because right now, if a building does not open its doors 5 days a week to students, then it can't call itself an essential service. And if that's what the public school establishment has decided, that they do not have an obligation to open 5 days a week, then really what needs to happen is that, those taxpayer dollars need to be given to parents so that they can make arrangements to send their children to a place that will open 5 days a week reliably.
It is insane to me the amount of pressure that is placed upon parents in this day and age, whether it is the situation you and I are discussing now, whether it's the CRT or whether it's a litany of other issues. And then there's this. Here in New York City, they're basically bribing / teasing 5-year-old kids with a $100 promise for getting the vaccine. Erika, how unseemly is it for the government to basically be bribing kids to basically take the place of their own parents?
Yeah, I've been really uncomfortable with some of these incentives for a while because I don't think that it's right for the state to be intentionally incentivizing children to agitate against their parents. Parents are wrestling with decisions around vaccination, and a lot goes into making that decision. And the last thing that they need is to hear, their child almost as if they were in the candy aisle or at the toy store, begging for something that they want. And in this case, a $100 gift card. In some other cities, they've chosen other incentives. I just don't think that it's right. It's unseemly to me. I understand that they want to get as many people vaccinated as possible, but intentionally having children agitate against their parents about a decision, about which they don't understand, right. I just don't think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, taking these two topics as a whole, I do not know how much more parents can take. Erika Sanzi, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.